On this video, I'm going to show you and tell you how to fill your garden, but on a budget. Okay, right, if you've got a garden you need to fill with shrubs, but you're working on a budget and you don't want to buy big established shrubs, buy them small like that. A shrub like that will grow into a shrub like that this year, maybe 5, 6, 7 weeks time. Plant it in, bit of bone meal, keep it wet, very rapidly it'll end up like that at a fraction of the cost. Okay, alright, welcome to the Yorkshire Plant Nursery. I'm just going to do a very quick video today just to try to give you an idea why it's better to buy small plants rather than the big established plants. Well, the most obvious one is money. A lot of garden centres, a lot of nurseries, including those, we carry 5 litre pots. Lovely, well-established shrub, 15 quid a pot. Some garden centres, 25, 30, 35 pound a pop even. Lonaceria, 2 litre pot, lovely evergreen shrub, £7 each. Now, if you've got a blank canvas, or you've just moved into a new house and you're wanting to start afresh, why, and especially when money's tight, you wouldn't want to go for the established plants and you wouldn't want to buy them all in one go. Hundreds and hundreds of pounds just to fill your garden. Lots of nurseries and lots of garden centres even, they'll carry smaller pots. So this is a Lonaceria. Exact same plant as I've just shown you, but it's in a 9 centimetre square pot. Now we sell these for £2.50 a piece. Not saying every nursery and every garden centre is going to sell them for that price, but the smaller the plant, the general cheaper it's going to be. But it is going to grow. Every plant, that's what they're designed to do, so every plant will grow. Just be aware when you are planting small plants, I mean the Lonaceria will grow to, it's got a 1.5 metre height, but it's also got a 1.5 metre spread. It'd be very easy to put that in your garden, 3 or 4 inches to the side of it, you'd put another one. You want to make sure that you leave the gap to the width it's going to grow. So again, when you first plant your garden, especially if you're doing it from small plants, it will look a little sparse. But plants grow, and quite rapidly as well. Once the weather picks up, we start to get to the longer days, you start to get a lot of escalated growth. And especially, or more so, with smaller plants because they're trying to establish themselves. They're trying to grow so they can eat flowers, so they can get pollinated, so they don't become extinct. So smaller plants tend to grow that little bit faster than more established plants. So obviously do your research on them, make sure that you've got the height, the spread, whether they like full sun, whether they like to grow in the shade, and do your blank canvas, get your garden filled up for a fraction of the cost. Alright, so when you're choosing your shrubs, you do need to pay particular attention to all the information that the nursery or the garden centre's got up. I'll just give you 1 or 2 examples and where to position them. So this is a Ceanothus or Californian lilac. It is hardy, but it's not 100% hardy. If we get another beast from the east that we had several years ago, a lot of people's Ceanothus in the gardens, it perished. But it's hardy in our normal weather conditions. Prefers south-facing. South-facing, so the more daylight you can give it, and the better blooms it'll produce. It can also grow up against a wall. So you don't need to train it up a wall or up a fence, up a trellis. It'll just naturally grow up and up to the side. Again, what was very popular a few years ago and it started to make a little bit of a comeback is the EB. Most evergreen plants that we had prior to the introduction of the EBs are quite boring. So didn't particularly flower. Euonymus, Lonaceria, little white nondescript flowers, but an evergreen shrub. Most of the more interesting flowering shrubs, like for instance Potentilla, deciduous. So it'll drop its leaves, but it'd retain the blooms. The EB, that's an evergreen shrub, but it will produce blooms. On the downside, it can get a little woody. So just keep an eye on your EBs. It does benefit to keep them cut well back. So every year, just cut them back 3 or 4 inches off ground level. And another hard and fast rule when you're growing your shrubs, all your action should be after it's flowered. So as soon as this little leaf is flowered, get it cut 6 inches off ground level, it starts to send off some fresh shoots and it'll keep it looking nice and fresh all year. Right, so when you're filling your borders as well and you're choosing your plants, there's a lot of categories of plants. There's perennials, herbaceous perennials and shrubs. Just very quickly on the shrubs. So the shrub, the definition of a shrub, is a plant that whether it loses its leaves or not will leave some evidence above ground. So this is a ceanoth, this is an evergreen, so obviously it's going to leave all its leaves above ground over winter. Potentilla, that will shed all its leaves, but it'll still leave the hardwood above ground. So that's your definition of a shrub. Now with shrubs, if you like the look of a shrub, this will go to about 1.2 metres. But you think, I don't want it to go to 1.2 metres, then just keep it pruned back. Now there is exceptions, as with everything in the gardening and the plants, there's always exceptions. But as a rule, a shrub will flower when the time is right, whereas a perennial, that will only flower when the height is right. So if you've got a lupin, that'll get to about a foot tall, you'll keep cutting that back, then it's just not going to flower for you. You're cutting it back, it wants to get to height. Whereas a shrub, I can keep that cut back as many times as I want throughout the year, and when it's time for it to flower, it flowers. Investigate your plants when you're buying them, but like I said, especially with shrubs, fantastic family of plants. 1.2 metres, I've got room for it, just keep it trimmed back, and it'll flower just like that when the time is right for it to flower.